Order. At this meeting, the commission will hold hearings on notice of intent, requests for determination of applicability. Commission will also be voting on decisions and taking up other business. No hearing times have been assigned to the specific agenda items, and the commission will take them up in the order they are listed. Discussion and action items may be taken up at any time. In accordance with the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Executive Order suspending the provisions of the open meeting law, we are conducting this meeting online. The commission welcomes participation in the meeting by the applicants and general public. Attending the meeting tonight are the 7 Conservation Commission members: Eric Foley, Margaret Wheeler, Jim Gozzo, Ann Jeffries, Marilyn Frank, Walt Donovan, and Peter Muller, and the Conservation Resource Planner, Carol Gumbert, and the Assistant Planner. This meeting is being recorded by Westford Cable Access TV. We respectfully ask that everyone mute their computer microphones and phones when not in use to avoid unnecessary noise during the meeting. This is an open meeting, so for all panelists who have access to the chat panel, please only use chat for technical issues related to the video conferencing. The commission will proceed by opening the agenda items, having the applicant or the representative present the project, or if previously opened in a public meeting, they will provide a brief summary of the project. The commission and staff will follow with questions, and then we will open it up to the public for questions and comments. At this point, if you wish to participate, you will raise your hand and your microphone will be unmuted for you to participate. Due to the limitations of the platform, attendees that are accessing the meeting via the telephone number at the top of the agenda will only be able to listen to the proceedings and will not be able to contribute. Please access the video conference via the link on the agenda, even if you do not have a webcam to participate. The chair will take a roll call. Marilyn?
Here.
Eric?
Here.
Ann?
Here.
Margaret? Jeff? Jim?
Yes, I'm here.
And Noel?
Here.
You're here. Good. Okay. Okay, we're good. So we're going to move on to our open forum. Does anybody from the commission have anything on open forum? Seeing none. Carol, do you have stuff for open forum?
Yeah, I just wanted to let everyone know that the requests for proposals are due on Monday for East Boston camps, and we had extended the period. I think I reported that the last meeting.
Right.
And they're due on Monday. I know at least one of the potential proposals is coming from someone who was really looking to get moving, if they're the selected one, to get all their camp information together. So I'm just trying to think how quickly we might turn it around, and I'm wondering who wants to be involved in the review, and whether we might convene to do that like right after the holidays. If we get I could get the proposals scanned and out to you early next week, and then maybe a few people could look at them the following week. So I'm just wondering who was interested in that.
Any volunteers?
What is this
Jim?
thing?
I'll do it.
I'm here.
Okay, Jim and I.
I'm sorry, that was who? Eric and Jim?
It's fine. Okay, it's 2 is enough.
Yeah, Peter and Jim.
Peter and Jim.
Yeah, I
Okay.
didn't say a word.
I know you did.
I had my head down, so I didn't see. And then I also wanted to tell you that we have some preliminary information on the survey work that was done on Kersey Circle. And I'm going to put that information in your next packet. But there's 2 encroachments. One is just with a water line, it looks like, and a gas line. And the other is with a fence and some landscape and yard. So I think we need to talk about whether, maybe talk with the Palmers, maybe they would be okay if we didn't accept all of it and we had the people who are, who might need access to the water line, maybe some of it could go to them. I don't know, so long as we get the access and the trail. I'm not sure if that's what our whole interest is, or whether, you want the whole parcel and then you want to deal with the neighbor who's got the encroachment issues. The other thing with it is that the trail that people have been using is not on that parcel, so it would have to get put in.
Okay.
So never easy, but I just want to, I'll give you that information at the next meeting. We have a sketch plan of it now. They're working on the plan. you know, I didn't know if we needed them to locate that information. I think probably at this stage we don't until we talk about it.
Okay, all right,
Okay, so that's all I had.
okay. Any questions from the audience on open forum? I don't see any raised hands. Okay, we're going to move on to our first agenda item, which is a public hearing for the Crowley Family Revocable Trust, 58 Lakeshore Drive. This is a legal notice under Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, Wetlands Protection Act, Wetlands Non-Zoning Wetlands Bylaw, Chapter 171. The Westford Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, November 18th, 2020 at 7:30 p.m. via remote participation to consider a request for determination of applicability filed by the Crowley Family Revocable Trust for the removal of 6 trees, 2 white pines, 1 red oak, 3 hemlocks within 100 feet of a jurisdictional wetland at 58 Lakeshore Drive South. Assessors map 73, parcel 48. Welcome.
So, Mr. Chair, this is Matt Salem, Assistant Planner. The applicant emailed me today. Apparently, he's been bedridden the last couple days with something that's not COVID related, but at this same point was unable to make it into the meeting. He was hoping that the commission would be able to discuss, and if there are any substantial questions that Carol and I were unable to answer based upon our site visit, he requests that the meeting, the public hearing, be continued to the commission's next meeting on December 9th, when hopefully he will be able to join and discuss.
Well, why don't you two report on your site visit to us?
Okay. So as noted in his work description, the project is on Lakeshore Drive South. It's the top of the steep bank of Nabnasset Lake. And his neighbor actually beginning of this year, I think during the microburst, had a portion of a pine come through the neighbor's ceiling. So he was requested to remove kind of similar tall pines that are right at the top of the slope and overhanging the deck and the dwelling at 58 Lakeshore Drive South. Additionally, when the arborist was out, he noted that there were 3 hemlocks in poor health that should also be removed, especially if the crane is going to be there. The crane is proposed to set up on the driveway, and if there's any questions, I'd be happy to try and answer. If not, like I said, we could continue it if necessary.
How far are the trees from the wetland, from the lake?
About 80 feet linearly, and again, they're at the top of the bank.
Right, okay.
Or the slope. Yeah.
So Matt, what was wrong with the hemlocks?
I didn't have.
It seemed like the arborist pointed them out or whatever. I didn't know if there was, why he thought they needed to come out specifically.
Is there the arborist's letter?
I'm reading the request. It just sounded like it was more along the line that it was convenient because the crane was going to be there.
Yes, that's.
So they had to come out to facilitate
Actually,
putting the crane in that location?
It does say that they're in poor health. It's not explicit.
So when we did the site visit, I could tell the oak that was overhanging the deck. I could see a couple of, the trees were not marked, so I wasn't 100% sure which exact ones they were. There were a couple of white pines that were just down the slope from the oak. And then the hemlocks, I wasn't sure exactly which ones. And I guess the other question that I might have asked if he was able to attend was just if you were thinking that you wanted anything replanted or replaced.
I was thinking of-
We typically do.
Especially for the oak.
So I actually, this is Noelle. I know you can't see me, but the woman that used to live there, I used to take care of her. I took care of her for a few years, and I'm very familiar with the property. And this was something that I had brought up to Carol, that there has been a lot of dumping going on that hill. Specifically, giant boulders have been thrown down into the water to create a retaining wall down there. And I would really recommend that the conservation commissioners go down there and do a site visit to check out exactly what's going on that slope, because there's like a huge landslide.
Noelle, I didn't see that at all.
It's in between, so the house, if you're looking at the house to the left of them, right in between the two houses, there's
Well,
a lot of
so
dumping.
we went down the stairs all the way down to the bottom, and there's a retaining wall that was constructed that was approved by the commission. And the other house to the left is a brand new one that I don't remember. Anyway, I didn't see any of that, but
Right. You might not be able to see that from the bottom of the stairs, but out in the water when I was in my kayak, you can definitely see there's a lot of disturbance on that bank from dumping. So I think I need to recuse myself from this because I am involved with the family, but I would recommend that the Conservation Commission goes there and checks it out.
Well, I think we'll send Carol and Matt back out to
Yeah.
check it. I don't think all of us have to go. So Carol, we're going to continue this anyway, so.
Yep.
okay. So maybe, Matt, maybe we can arrange it with, I don't know who you were talking with the family trust, but if we can get somebody from there to walk with us, that might be a good way to do it.
Certainly.
Okay.
I'll reach out to him and set up a time.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
you
have
might
them mark the trees also. 'cause,
mark the trees too.
one- right.
Okay. Okay, any questions to my audience on this application? I don't see any hands raised, so we're going to continue this to our first meeting in December, which is what, the 9th?
Mhm.
December 9th. Can I have a motion to that effect?
So moved.
All in
Second.
favor? Marilyn?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
Ian?
Yes.
Margaret?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
And Peter, yes. Okay, great. Okay, we're going to move on to our next agenda item, which is a public hearing for Lynn, 44 Lawson Road, RDA. So legal notice under Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, Wetlands Protection Act, Wetlands Non-Zoning, Wetlands Bylaw, Chapter 171. The Westford Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, November 18th, 2020 at 7:30 p.m. via remote participation to consider request for determination of applicability filed by R. Henry Lynn III for the removal of one maple tree and replacement of the existing hardscaping within 100 feet of a jurisdictional wetland at 44 Lawson Road. Assessors map 73, parcel 48. So is Mr. Lynn here?
Mr. Lynn, please unmute yourself.
Mr. Lynn, can you hear us?
Mr. Chair, I was trying to work with him previously to, he was having some technical issues hearing the proceedings, so I don't know if we want to come back to it and let him know to just call in directly.
Okay. All right, we can do that.
Yeah.
So we'll move on to our next hearing then. Okay, which is for McCormick, 2 Dutchman Lane. This is a legal notice under Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, Wetlands Protection Act, the Wetlands Non-Zoning Wetlands Bylaw, Chapter 171. Westford Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, November 18, 2020, 7:30 p.m. via remote participation on the notice of intent application of Robert McCormick for the construction of a detached pool house and associated landscaping with 100 feet of a jurisdictional wetland at 2 Dutchman Lane. Assessors map 11, parcel 15. Okay, is Mr. McCormick here or someone representing him?
Hi, this is Matt Stengel, representing Robert McCormick.
Okay. Welcome.
So I'm Matt Stengel from Land Tech Consultants, representing Robert McCormick for the NOI application at 2 Dutchman Lane. Just a little bit of information about the property. It's a 1.3 acre lot. About 2/3 of the lot is cleared, and that includes the house, the driveway, the front and rear yards. The southern portion of the property is wooded, and that is where the wetlands exist on the property. So the project itself includes the construction of a 800 square foot pool house adjacent to the existing pool in the backyard. The wetlands on the property are approximately 20 feet beyond the fence that marks the limit of clearing, the existing limit of clearing in the backyard. The jurisdictional wetland areas extend, the 100-foot wetland buffer extends almost all the way to the dwelling and encompasses almost the entire backyard, where the proposed structure is to be built. Besides the construction of the pool house, the project is also includes minor site work, which is shown on the plan. There's the proposed patio, which is about 550 square feet of concrete patio that is to tie into the existing patio. And then also just minor grading and landscaping around the structure. All site work is outside of the 55-foot limit of building wetland buffer. We did have a site walk on Monday with Carol, and there were a few items that we discussed when we were out there on Monday. First is Carol was questioning the erosion controls that are in the backyard and why I think they're located right along the 30-foot limit of work buffer. She recommended that those get moved up to limit the amount of disturbance in the backyard. So that is one thing that we would be willing to change on the plan. We also discussed adding some plantings on the rear of the structure, the side that faces the cul-de-sac on Dutchman Lane. I'm not sure if the owner, Robert, is on the meeting tonight, but he did offer to, he's willing to do some plantings in that lawn area along the cul-de-sac. And we did discuss with Carol designating some portion of that side yard to allow it to naturalize, just as to provide some more mitigation for the increase in impervious areas. Besides that, though, we have not heard we haven't had any comments from DEP. I also checked their website today, and there were no comments listed on their website. So I think that is all I have. If the board has any questions.
Carol, general comments?
So the property was pretty flat, mostly it's all within a landscaped area, except that he preemptively did clear 2 trees in the vicinity of where the pool house is going to go. They were pretty large size, but they weren't like part of a woodland. They were, in the landscaped area. And I think just as Matt said, there was one other tree outside of the fence on the cul-de-sac side that that would have to be removed. And he was very interested in doing like a planting along that whole strip of apple trees. And then sort of as it gets towards the back, towards the wetland, letting that naturalize. So that's pretty much all I had.
Okay, questions from the commission? Margaret?
Yeah, the question that I had from looking at this plan is it looks like the well is under where the existing, where the new patio is going to be. And I'm just wondering, since it's a concrete patio, is that going to be problematic? If they need to, if they need to do something to access the well, are they going to have to bust up the concrete? Does that require a filing because they're working in the buffer zone?
Yeah, we did. I did overlook that when I was drafting the plan. I have discussed it with someone else in our office, and we've talked about we can add a detail to the plan that would show like an access cover being installed over the location of the well, and we can provide a detail that would show how it would be installed so that you can still access the well. I'm not sure if that's acceptable, but.
Well, yeah, because if it's a cover, then yes, it becomes much more accessible. If, for example, the pump's got to be replaced or something like that.
Yes, exactly.
So Matt, I would just say, talk to the Board of Health before you design it, just to make sure you design it to their requirements. Because they will require it not to be covered, unless it meets their standards.
Okay, yeah, I will definitely do that.
Any other questions from the commission?
So the pool already exists, that's already there. It says there's some existing concrete, and you're just going to be tying in this building and additional patio into this existing pool and concrete?
Yes, exactly.
What can you say about the runoff from the patio, the proposed patio?
From the patio, I think it would run off. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I did not mention that we did show a infiltration trench along along two sides of the structure and
Of the house, but the patio I'm talking about.
No.
Yeah, we could. I could add spot grades to the plan that would show that the runoff pattern would be directed towards that infiltration trench, or we could probably, if that's not acceptable, we could also find a location for a different infiltration trench to pick up any of that runoff.
Jim, it was pretty flat for the most part, but there was a little bit of a ridge, like a little higher ground before you get to the wetland in the back. So I think the runoff is probably going to infiltrate through the grass and lawn area and or shed sort of over towards the street side.
Okay, I was just concerned because it seemed like all the area of the pool house and the new patio is quite a bit of impervious. And
No,
if
it is.
There's a barrier there somewhere between the construction and the wetlands that would prevent runoff from going all the way down there. That'd be good.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a natural ridge. Wouldn't Matt Stingle, you would agree to that? I think you pointed that out in the field.
Yes, yeah, the contours on the plan do show it, but when you're out there in person, it's more dramatic than the plan makes it look. There is like you say, there is that ridge that runs between like the pool and the fence.
Okay, any more questions? Any questions from the audience on this application?
Mr. Chair, there is a audience member who has their hand raised. Mr. Fearson, can you unmute yourself and state your address?
Sure. My name is Scott Ferson. I live at 3 Dutchman Lane, so I'm across the road from 2 Dutchman. And my question has to do with any additional runoff because it's a pool house, and I'm wondering if there's going to be outdoor showers added or any other ability to add water and runoff over this new structure that's being built. I wasn't sure if that was clear in the plans or not.
Is there water runoff out of the pool house?
There are no like outdoor showers on the pool house. I did have a draft, and the homeowner's architect did send me a draft of an architectural plan. It was just it wasn't a full draft of the plan. It was just like a image clip that showed the dimensions, but it didn't show any. There were no showers, or there was no like source of. There's nothing that would produce more water besides just roof runoff.
Okay.
And I can get a copy of the architectural plans to submit to the commission.
Okay, that would be good. Okay. Yep. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. It'd be great to know about that. I'm downstream of this from the flow of this, and I'd be curious to know what the impact might be. Thanks.
It looks like, it's going to be minimal impact going down, and most of it, because it's so flat in there, is going to re-go into the ground.
And so, Matt, is there no water service to the pool house, i.e. no pipe bringing water into it that would be for something like a bathroom or a shower or anything in that structure?
I think that there might be. I'm sorry, I don't have a definitive answer. I am on my other work computer trying to find that architectural plan so that I can't find it right now. I'm sorry, I didn't ask for that to be submitted to the commission. But I think there is a water service that would be going into the structure. If I'm mistaken, I'm sorry, but I don't think it would be for a bathroom or a shower. If anything, it would be for a sink. If that was, I don't know if that could be a condition, or I guess I shouldn't. Maybe I shouldn't say that, but
it would go into a.
I think you're gonna have to find out those kind of things. It
would have to be plumbing code.
I'm sorry. I think that I would have to confirm what's actually on there when I see the architectural plan again. And when I submit that I can try and submit that to the commission this week so that we can clear up this issue.
Water going in, we want to know where it's going. If there's water going in, we want to know how it's coming out of the building.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was kind of speaking on the fly there, and thinking about it. Yes, there would have to be a connection to the septic system. So I don't believe that there is water going into the pool house. A little bit of a lapse, brain fart there. I'm sorry.
No problem.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, really.
Okay, well, just if you can get those plans submitted as part of this, we can
Yes,
issue
definitely.
order of conditions at the next meeting.
Cool.
Okay. Yeah. So can I have a motion to continue this to December 9th?
Second.
All in favor? Marilyn?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
Ann? Margaret?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
And Peter, yes. Okay, we'll see you on the 9th.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So Matt, do we have Mr. Lynn there now?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Can hear
Okay.
you.
Yeah, there you go.
Great. So tell us what you want to do here, Mr. Lynn.
Oh, just two things. I've got a maple tree in my backyard that is it's full of termites all the way up to the peak of it. We were able to poke a stick into it, or a probe into it, about 10 inches, and pull out some sawdust and stuff like that. So we'd rather take it down now before it takes out my neighbor's fence and hot tub and all that, as
Okay.
well. As well as we're going to modify or kind of change the hardscaping in our back from flagstone to pavers.
Are these going to be permeable pavers?
Yes, they'll be permeable.
Okay. So are they going in the exact location where it is now?
It'll be slightly different. They'll be closer to the house, with the exception of a border around the beach area.
Questions from the commission?
So like how much more impervious surface, or he said it's pervious paver, but how much more ground disturbance than we have right now? I mean, is there additional paver? I saw where his flagstones were, but I just didn't know, I'm visualizing the picture before that had the flagstones. I'm visualizing the picture before us now, and I'm just trying to figure out how much more permeable paver we're gonna have when we're done than flagstone than we have now.
I probably not much bigger than the flagstone, I would say. I think we calculated 800 square feet. So, but it would be closer to the house and not as close to the shoreline. So,
Okay.
And it would be all permeable, which is good.
right.
I think when we were on the site visit, we also talked about you had an interest in maybe replacing the tree that you were taking down.
Yeah, we decided on getting a birch tree.
Okay. That's fine. The other
Mark,
nice
you had a
thing
question?
is for you to put a little buffer in along that wall where the grass is now, along the edge of the water.
A buffer? What do you mean, like, by that?
Well, some native plants in there instead of having it all grass right to the wall, so the water just kind of runs over the wall. Something that
on the other side of the beach, and it's shown that's all buffer. There's like shrubbery there on the border of the lake.
Yeah, but I'm looking at between the beach and the walkway that goes down to the dock. It's all grass there. You got one flower plant sitting there, which is nice.
Yeah. I think with that section, I don't think that's going to work out so well.
No?
Whereas you don't see the other side, and a picture would show it, but it's literally all shrubbery, probably like 8 to 10 feet of shrubbery on that other side of the beach from to the right side of the beach area all the way to my neighbor's area.
But I'm looking at lawn next to the beach area in this photo.
Yes,
Between the beach and the dock.
that's right.
Yeah?
Yes.
I think, Peter, what he's saying on the other side where you don't see it to the right of the red share, that section was all natural.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but the other side, where the boat's
Yeah,
at.
you're concerned about the left side.
Yeah, what you see is the left side, but the right side, and if there was photos of it, and there isn't, unfortunately, but that would show that is all natural.
Okay. No, that's fine. But you wouldn't consider getting rid of some of that lawn along the edge of the wall there on the other side?
Not
We
really.
always like to have buffers.
That area is pretty much in use because we've got the boats, and I do have to pull my dock in and among other things in the wintertime. So I don't think that would be a very practical solution. And actually, to the left of the walkway, that's a big natural area as well. So
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I see that. Okay. Okay, any other questions from the commission? Margaret?
Yeah, so there's one hand-drawn drawing in the packet, which looks like it's the existing conditions. I think would be very helpful for us if we could see a similar plan of what you're proposing. That makes it much easier to see, if the patio area is going to stay the same, if it's going to change. It's really helpful for us to see a picture of what you're proposing.
I mean, that's roughly what we're proposing. There's will be a border, a bigger border around the beach area to prevent sand from ruining my grass. But other than that, most of the patio will be in front of the porch area of my house.
I agree with Peter. I think that there should be a portion of that grass that is, that has some more planting there. Maybe not right up against the dock so that they can, get the boats in and out, but I think maybe a portion of that should have some more plants there instead of grass.
Again, I think if you saw the other side of the beach, and that is not shown, there's a tree, there's shrubbery, there's blueberry bushes, all extended all the way from the right side of the beach all the way to my neighbor's fence. That's about.
So maybe we could continue this public hearing and you could provide that additional picture or two, because right now it seems to be a hang up for folks, because we typically try to have folks maintain a buffer. I see what you're trying to say and wanting to keep that area the way it is, but I think it would be helpful for other folks to be able to see that you do have the buffer, and they can't see that right now.
Yeah, unfortunately, I see that, but there's a big buffer with a tree and shrubbery and blueberry bushes, or kind of a rocky area between the water and the lawn.
Could you provide an additional photo or two of that so we could see that?
For sure. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it'd be necessary to have a further planting on the right. It's actually not a very big spot. I think maybe like 20 feet, 15, 20 feet at most. So, whereas the other side, it really does go quite a ways from the beach to the neighbor's fence.
My only other comment to that would be, I see where you want to put the pavers, where you have this hand drawing. I wish it was a little more detailed, because if we go out after the fact and you'll show us and say, well, my plan shows what I wanted, and we'll take a look at what you did and we'll look at the plan. And, I just wish it was a little more either to scale or superimposed over, a picture or two of what's existing. So I had a better idea of what these pavers are going to actually look like once you've completed your project.
Okay, I'll see if I can figure out that kind of technology. Not really sure if I have
Well,
that.
right now I got a hand sketch. You're right on the resource. We typically would require something a little bit more from somebody when they're proposing a project like this.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if I could also request whatever type of pervious paver you're planning on using, if you have some kind of an advertising brochure or something that describes it.
Okay.
We talked about paper that the water actually flows right through.
Okay. I'll look for. I know we had found something, but I'll see if I can find that for you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any questions?
What type of chemicals are you using to maintain your lawn?
None. I don't use any. I don't use any fertilizer or weed killer.
Okay.
Right.
Okay,
Good.
any questions from the audience? Don't see any. Okay, so we're going to continue this to December 9th. If you can get that additional information into Carol, and we can probably do an order.
Okay.
As long as you,
I'll see,
So this is a request for determination, Peter.
oh, okay.
So I think
Well,
you'd
we're-
want the information to be able to determine whether you need a notice of intent or not. Are you
Yeah.
feeling like
Yeah.
if you get the information, you might be able to give a negative, or you feel like you need to go to a notice?
Well, it would be at least a conditional negative.
Yeah. Yeah, it will be a conditional negative if he gets all that stuff. Right.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
So Henry, we'll be in touch, because we'll let you know when we need stuff by, so that you'll be able to get it in time for the next meeting.
Okay, for sure. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so can I have a motion to continue this public hearing to December 9th?
Second,
All in favor, Marilyn?
Yes.
Eric?
yes.
Ian? Margaret?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
And Noel?
Yes.
And Peter, yes. Okay, we're moving on to our next agenda item, which is the continuation of a public hearing for Stone Ridge Development, Gravestone Pond. Have we heard anything from Duke?
Well, we had an email that he copied to his consultant, and then we didn't hear anything else. So I don't know, Matt, do you see anybody that you know who's might be on for this?
No.
Other than I see Mark Childs is listening, but, so I guess they did not request a continuation or provide any further information. We assumed that they would come to the meeting if they were, since they didn't provide anything else.
Well, you know, this keeps going on and on. He keeps telling us he's going to have his engineer and they're going to submit this thing, and I don't know what you guys want to do with this, so.
Push them off into the new year.
Yeah.
I don't think we should be continuing this every meeting and then have nothing show up. So I would rather not continue it until we hear from them and have something concrete.
Well, we have to continue.
We
it.
have to.
Continue it, but not to a date in the future. Do we have to have the exact date?
Yeah,
Yes, you
we
do.
have to
Yeah.
schedule the hearing.
But after the first, I agree, after the first.
Well, let's schedule it for our second January meeting, which is January 20th. No, I'm sorry, January 27th.
So moved.
Second,
Okay, all in favor? Marilyn,
Yes.
Eric,
yes.
Ian, Margaret,
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
And Noel.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, the next is a public hearing to review the wetlands rules and regulations and revisions. Has everybody received those?
Yes.
Everybody looked them over? I mean, there's quite a bit of edits in there.
No doubt.
So I don't know how you guys want to proceed. Do you guys have a lot of stuff that you want to question Carol on these changes, or?
You know, I'm pretty good with them the way they are. Like I told Carol, I thought if people had questions in regards to any changes or edits, that maybe they could provide them in writing to us so that we could respond back to them. It would be easier than trying to do it off the cuff.
Yeah, right, yes, especially in this format.
Right.
So
agree.
so far, I've only received comments from Margaret that have mostly been like missing a preposition or word or some,
Yeah.
editorial sorts of things. I did have a few things in there that I wanted, more specifically to ask you to think about. And I can either call those out if you want as well, to you in writing, or
That would be
to
useful.
look for them in my notes. So if you'd rather me call out those specific ones.
That would
Yeah,
be,
why
if
don't-
you pointed us in that direction, that would be
yeah,
useful.
why don't you do that in writing, Carol? So
Sure.
we'll go over those for the next hearing.
Okay.
Can I just tell you, like, for example, one of the questions is, again, trying to be clear about what we're looking for submittals. We have now been meeting virtually. Before, we were doing paper packets and we were asking for 8 copies to be submitted. It's kind of hard, like right now, what to tell someone when we're really not even needing those the same way.
Right.
And maybe we want a hybrid of that. Maybe we get, digital of the application, but you get, hard copies of, major plans or all plans or something like that. So just think about like that kind of thing. That's one of those questions that I have, what you want out of it.
I've been downloading it because I need to see it. It's interesting.
Okay, I'll put my questions together. I don't know if anybody from the public is here for that.
I don't see any raised hands. Any questions from the audience? This is going to be continued to our next meeting for further
Well,
discussion.
someday we're gonna be going back to meetings in person, I hope.
We will, yeah.
I think that'll
absolutely.
happen, Jim.
Yeah,
I hope so.
Our
I
life.
think that'll happen.
I hate reviewing, plans on, you know, on a little screen like this and then having to juggle everything, online.
I
I really
print
look
it.
forward to getting.
I can't do it that way, so I physically print it, you know?
And I think that the plans is one thing, but I would just say in terms of like office time and staff time, it's always been at least an entire day putting together all the paper packets. You know, and so if we can think about even a hybrid model of a lot of the paperwork being digital and the plans being something you get, you know, hard copies of, that might be.
yeah, that would definitely work, yeah.
Yes, that would help a lot.
But think about it, whatever you guys need, you know, you need to be able to get the information the way you need it, so.
Well, like Jim said, it's hard to look at a set of plans that when we used to get on an 11 by 17 or something, now we're trying to do off of a screen. It does make it difficult.
Oh, I
And-
completely understand that, and I that's why I would say maybe there's even a hybrid, but.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, well, I'm happy to give you some of my questions, and if you guys have specific ones, send them to me, and that way I can, you know, we are required to have 2 public meetings on this, or public hearings on it anyway, so.
okay. So
Mr.
this will be
Chair,
on our
that's it.
agenda again on December 9th for further discussion. So
Correct.
if you guys can get any of your comments back to her before then, that would be great.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, there was a question raised by one of the audience members.
You see him? I don't see
Yep.
him.
Miriam, please unmute yourself and state your name and address for the record, please.
Okay. Good evening. It's Miriam Kadansky, 12 Brookside Road, number 19. I had trouble in the meeting packet seeing the actual changes. All I saw were little notations. Do I need to use Adobe to see those?
So the document, it was too difficult to do a red line of the document. We did have a highlighted version. Did that not go out, Matt, in the packet with the highlighted version? I know I'd sent that one as an earlier draft.
Oh, what I see are little notations like CG1. I can see where.
Right, so those were some of my like comments that I had in the, you know, a marginal comment.
Right.
but-
Yeah, there was a highlighted version that we got, so I have a copy of it. So
But that may not have gone out in this packet. It might have been an earlier one.
I think
see.
that went out in the October 28th, or I'm quite certain that went out in the October 28th meeting packet,
Okay.
or the November 4th, but I'm leaning towards the October 28th at this time.
Okay, so I should be able to go find it, looking back in the packets.
yeah, if you can't, just give Carol a call and they'll get
Okay.
it.
Yeah, call us and I can email it to you if you don't see it.
Alrighty. Thank you, Kara.
I think it was the November 4th, going back and looking at the packet for last month, our last meeting. It's there with a whole lot of yellow in it.
Yeah, that
That's
would have been
the
the one.
Good thing I didn't put any money down.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, you see anybody else with questions, Matt? I don't. So hard
No,
to see.
Mr. Chair.
Okay. Okay, so we're going to move on to discussion and action items, and the first one is Friends of East Boston Camps request to run a tree hut at Stony Brook Conservation Land. I'm going to recuse myself, and Eric will read this.
Did we
So
vote
who's
to,
here for that discussion item tonight?
There was no, it's a public hearing on the rules and regulations, but there's no notice, okay?
okay,
So
Yeah, it's just a discussion.
it's just, yeah,
Well, no, sorry, there was a notice for the rules and regulations.
There
And the
was?
notice includes 2 different dates. It included tonight and it includes the 9th.
there
okay.
is? Oh, I didn't see
So
it.
it's automatically continued.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
It's in there, okay? Okay, Eric,
So yeah, we're going to move on to that discussion item, which is Friends of East Boston Camps request to run a tree hut at Stony Brook Conservation Land. Is anybody here from the trust? or the friends, I should say.
Yeah, there's a couple people. Sue is here. She's available, and it looks like, Sue, did you want to bring this?
Speak to it.
Sue, are you there? Oh, here she is.
Okay, we
Well,
gotta,
there's Matt. Matt's putting up the pictures.
Yeah, I put it up. I don't know why it says her
Oh,
mic.
so Jamie's got her hand raised. I think Jamie in attendees.
Mhm.
So you just want her to unmute herself?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, Jamie Holmes,
Yes.
you're muted still.
Okay.
Hi, how are you? I think Sue was gonna start, so I'm just waiting to see what she would want, because I'm not with Friends of EBC, I'm working with her, with Girl Scouts, so I'm just waiting to see, if she's gonna unmute herself to introduce, and then I'll, jump in here.
She might be having technical issues.
Okay, I'm happy to run with
I'll
it.
let you jump right into it. Let us know what's going on. What do you
Sure.
want to do?
So I went to Friends of EBC to ask about a decorated tree hunt. I had learned about Chelmsford doing one in their open space stewardship. They run one, and I thought it would be something. I work with the Girl Scouts and a few different other groups, but the Girl Scouts specifically, to add something fun that's socially distant and get people to know more about East Boston camps and just in general about conservation land in Westford. So our presentation here is basically, the cover page here is a tree that's decorated in one of the open stewardship spaces. You can click on down to the next slide. So in the from the East Boston camps map, this darker blue area is where we are proposing we would like to potentially do the decorated trees. Sue and I did walk this yesterday. There's not, you know, we would even kind of cut it down after, I want to say that like you get to the main camps area, cut it down to around, I can't see it well on this, sorry. But basically on the right side of the pond versus going all the way around Burgess Pond, we would just get closer to the tree line there. You can go to the next slide. Okay, so this would be a collaboration with Westford Friends of East Boston Camps and Westford Girl Scouts. Westford Friends of East Boston Camps would compile a list through Google Forms of the troops that will decorate trees with contact info. Sue will walk the path to ensure cleanup happens during the second week of January. Girl Scout troops of 6 to 14 girls will volunteer to decorate a tree with their troop leaders. Each troop will do their own tree. Up to 28 trees would be decorated. There are 28 troops, so we would offer it to all of them. I don't think that we would have that many, but that's a possibility. We can go to the next slide. This would be the email to solicit decorators to the Westford Girl Scouts. Basically, good afternoon, troop leaders. Is the troop looking to provide socially distant outdoor winter holiday fun? Join us for the first annual Westford Decorated Tree Hunt at EBC. The rules would basically be don't start decorating until a number has been assigned to your troop. This will help Sue and I keep track of where the trees are and to make sure that they get decorated appropriately and cleaned up after. You'll receive a number ornament to hang onto your troop's tree. Decorating can take place anytime between, we put these down as, you know, general dates, Friday 11/20 to 12/4. So a 1 week window, whatever that would end up being. In order to get the tree, they would fill out this form. So they would have that check in ahead of time. They wouldn't just go pick a tree and decorate it. Once they have decorated their tree, they'll email an email address that will formulate with a photo and a general location of the tree. And then the decorations must be removed Wednesday 1/6 between Wednesday 1/6 and Wednesday 1/13. That's the Google form link that we'll send out to all that may be interested in participating on the bottom. You can go to the next slide. This is just some rules. Trees must be in the area designated on the map provided. Please do not deviate more than 15 feet off the trail to decorate a tree. We strongly encourage use of recycled, environmentally friendly decor. No tinsel or glitter can be used, no metal. And then I gave some suggestions for do-it-yourself decorating tips. There are some more descriptive information than what's here, but I'm not going to bore you with that. So we can go to the next slide for a couple example pictures.
Squirrel food.
Yeah, exactly. And then we can go to the next slide. And then, so just to get word out to people that we are doing this decorated tree hunt, after we decide on all of the dates and when they'll be decorated by, we would create a Facebook page that advertises or gets word out about the hunt through the EBC Facebook page, and post the map. So the map that I showed earlier on, that will be more specific once we figure out the exact area of where the trees will be, so people know. And you can read through, but it's, just getting people out, joining us for a new tradition starting December 1st. Again, put a general date on there, but whenever we decided the date that they had to be decorated by is, and all are invited to participate. Your goal is to find whatever number of decorated trees throughout East Boston camps. And then we thought it would be fun to add in a survey link on that page. I'll set up a survey to vote for your favorites. So that's part of the reason that trees will be numbered. So, people could vote for most original, best use of recycled materials, that kind of stuff. So that's pretty much it. We are just trying to find some socially distant fun for our troops and for families. I have 5 children, and so I know I'm always looking for something to do that isn't in the house on a screen. And I think this would be really awesome if we could get it off the ground, but happy to answer your questions.
So I guess my first one was okay, when you decide where these trees are going to be, I'm assuming they're going to be on or, aside a trail that, people aren't going to be blazing new paths to find these trees.
Correct. So when you come in on Depot Street, from to East Boston camps, and you go, I don't know if it's not called Ice House Road right away, right? I'm not sure what it's called, the path that leads, into that grassy parking area. Mm-hmm. So once you get through that yellow gate, you would head up the trail that way, and there would be, basically, you would go up the trail to the right, stay on to the right, and come up to the East Boston camps that way. So you'll pass where the rec department has their little area, and then up past where the camps are, and then come down the hill that way and jump on from the orange trail to the yellow trail. And there's a lot of nice trees right in that area on the yellow trail that would be able to be decorated. And they don't need to be like perfect, evergreen trees. If you look at the Chelmsford page, it's a lot of trees just with pretty branches that have, the ability to put some decorations on.
Jim, what do you think about the location?
Those little plastic action figures?
I'm actually not 100% sure what they are.
I'm kind of disappointed that, I think it's almost like we're encouraging all kinds of junk to be hung on the trees in the camps. I know some of the stuff is edible, but it's also not such a great idea to be leaving food stuff all over the woods either. We're trying to get people not to drop stuff in there and not to leave items. And to have this in there for 2 months, I'm not really thrilled with it.
Okay, it would be 1 month.
I agree with Jim about the food. I feel like since we have a bear in the neighborhood down in Nabnasset, that putting food on the trees in East Boston camps might not be a good idea. That would be my biggest concern. As far as the things that are on the trees, as long as everything's going to get cleaned up at the end, I don't really have a problem with that. It's just, I don't really think that we should be encouraging people to feed wildlife.
And you had a question.
I called in. This is Susan. Can anyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so sorry about that. My computer just wasn't working for me, but I'm here too. I live at 68 Nutting Road, and I'm on the board of the Friends. So, I mean, I think that just on the point of feeding the animals, it's not necessarily that we're encouraging the children to think of this as a way to feed the animals. It's really just to minimize the, the sort of, non-compostable, biodegradable kinds of things. I mean, yes, it's true that it could probably be eaten by some animals, but we were just hoping that wouldn't be a big, reason not to do it, I guess. I do know there's a bear, and I don't want to endanger anybody either, so.
So we would be open to other decorations. I guess we were looking at it from your point of view, or I was trying to look at it from your point of view to have it be of a more natural type of thing. But almost all of Chelmsford's tree hunt is materials that you would use to decorate a typical Christmas tree. Like they're mostly bulbs. This one's pretty creative with the figurines. There's, the library does one, the fire department does one. They all, kind of participate in the community portion of it. And I do understand what Jim's saying, like we don't want people to come and just bring trash to the this conservation area. And that's not what we're doing. I mean, Girl Scouts, what we teach the kids is taking care of our environment, taking care of our earth, taking care of our animals. Many of our troops have done specific projects on those. So we would want to make sure it is something that is not going to hurt, the wildlife or encourage, a bear to be lurking around. So we are open to what you would want us to decorate with. If you have suggestions on that, well, it's not it's not sold. It has to be this. We just wanted to, market it.
Marilyn?
Now, I don't have trouble with trees being decorated. I agree with Jim, because I've had a bear in my own backyard. But I wouldn't have trouble if we didn't have food, let's say, and just did decorations. I'm assuming that with each tree decoration, there's one adult in charge of that group.
Yes, at least one, usually two are with each troop.
Okay, and that it'll be up for how long? How many weeks?
It would, depending on when we would start. Yes, the idea is like December. I think it ends up being like December 4th if we started sooner than later until January 6th.
Okay, and there'd be an adult there to make sure that the tree was cleaned properly.
Correct. Yep. I did give a 1-week window for them to decorate and a 1-week window for them to take it down. So we're social distancing and not everybody's there on the same day, and B, just I know everybody's not necessarily going to be able to coordinate that, or weather permitting.
And then do they report to you that this has been done and you go check it out? How can we be sure that the trees have been left in the condition that they were a month before?
Yep. So Sue and I are tackling that part. We are going to make sure that things get decorated appropriately. If there's any issues with decorations, we'll take care of that and contact the troop with that Google Doc that I was talking about. So it's a Google survey, it's called. You send that out. They fill in their troop information, the troop leader's name, the phone number, the email address. So we'll have something to contact them, and then we'll give them a number. That's why they can't decorate until they have the number.
Would you also be willing to go once a week, just to make sure that nothing's happening to that tree in the meantime?
Absolutely, yes. I think that Sue and I can either switch off, or I'm homeschooling my kids this year, so winter walks will be happening more frequently than not. So.
For how that would run, but then I don't have trouble with it if we're doing something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then I'm also more than willing after the date of the final date of cleanup to go around and make sure that each tree, there's no evidence that that tree had been decorated at all. And I'm someone who walks my dog in there quite a bit, so I'm really familiar with all of the trails, and so I hope to have a good sense of where all of the trees are. You know, and I can go out there each week as well and check on them.
This is Rose O'Donnell. Can I say something?
Mm-hmm.
I'm on the board of the Friends of ABC as well. And you should be assured that you will have the promise of the entire board of the Friends of East Boston Camps that we will make sure that there's no lasting effects from this. We're not,
Yeah,
you
I
know,
really don't
we
have a
care as
problem
much-
with this, other than the food issue. I don't know if any other of the commission members do, but I think this seems like an opportunity for folks to get out and enjoy themselves. And, you know, we need a lot more of that. So I'm not really, you know, I don't have an issue with this.
That's the idea, Eric. Thank you.
Margaret?
The only thing I'm thinking is, because I've lived through a lot of Decembers in Westford, and seen some significant snowstorms.
Oh, yeah.
I want to know what your plan B is if we get a really bad, winter storm that doesn't let you come in, that doesn't let you find all the stuff that's been put on the tree.
Well, I think our plan at that point would be that we go in as soon as we're able to go in. Even with snowstorms that have happened in December, you know, when we've had the tougher weather years, a couple years ago, I can remember. I think there were a couple, even at least in January, that it warmed up enough that we were you'd be able to get in to clean stuff up. So if for some reason, again, January 6th through 13th were, you know, snow-filled and terrible months, it just means that we would push it back a week and make sure that we either do it on our own if the troops can't get there. But again, I'm willing, and I know Sue is willing to take that on to, you know, ideally that's not what happens. The troops should be cleaning up after themselves. That's what we're teaching them. But if there was inclement weather for that reason, we would be happy to help them.
Sounds like a lot of responsible people, so.
I have snowshoes.
I have 5 kids, so I'll put them to work.
So do any of the commission members have any issues, other issues with this?
There's not going to be tinsel. I mean, there was a list of items that was going to be allowed there and which ones were not. Is that the correct list or no?
We're not
Well, we're gonna take out the food. We're gonna say no tinsel, no metal, and no glitter decorations. So ideally, you know, again, still trying to get them to do, you know, more natural stuff. I don't know, you know, like with like pine cones, but I won't encourage popcorn and cranberries or apples, but they could use, you know, plastic bulbs that are tied to a string that, you know, are not going to affect like food wise.
Yeah, or wooden
There's no
if they do any woodworking.
We got woodworking is a great idea too. Was there somebody that said something?
Could we make sure there's no glass as well?
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, no glass. And also, I mean, we can encourage them to use yarn and string instead of like plastic to tie the ornaments on. But I think that, you know, as long as they're tied well, I think we can emphasize that, you know, make sure everything is tied well on the tree so that it won't blow off in the wind.
We'll put that in the instructions.
Let's give them an opportunity here.
Okay, do you need a vote or what? What do you want?
So just want support, you know? I guess they're looking for our support and our blessing to do this. So, you know,
I'm gonna see this.
make a motion to allow this to happen.
I'll make such a motion.
So moved. Second, sorry.
All those in favor, Marilyn?
Yes.
Anne?
Yes.
Margaret?
I would say no. I just have concerns about what winter storms, blowing stuff off the trees and what can happen.
Jim?
No.
Noel?
I'm going to recuse myself.
I'm for it. So I've got 3 for, 2 against, 1 abstain, and Peter's abstain. So I guess they're good.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. And we
Great,
will make
thank you.
care of it. So I hope that this is super successful. So next year you're even more inclined to do it again.
I'm hoping it is too. And I'm glad you guys are making the opportunity for folks to get out and do more than just staring at a screen all day.
Yes.
Appreciate that. Okay, we're going to move on to our next discussion item, Peter.
Okay, I'm back. Our next discussion item is O'Brien Farm new boardwalk and funding order. Carol, do you know, is somebody here for this?
Yes, we have a couple people. Charlie McCullough is here and Dave Evanston. I think they both want to tell you about their thoughts. And I can add to it. I know about it too.
Okay. Charlie, you there?
I saw him on the screen, but
You want to take it, Dave?
I'll start off with it. Perhaps Charlie. I was texting him, and all of a sudden he dropped off. But
Yeah.
this really what we'd like to do is, Carol is familiar with it. I've lived next to the O'Brien Farm for 42 years, opposite Boats Road, and our whole neighborhood, the whole neighborhoods go through there. Several. I've seen so many people walk down Boats Road, Old Lola Road, at Sassafras and Steeplechase, and they use that those paths as a way, especially during the pandemic, to sort of relax their day. And what we'd like to do is, as you know, the O'Brien Farm has a stream going through it from the north end to the south end, and the side of the O'Brien Farm on against Boats Road, where the parking lot area is isolated. You have to walk down the road and go around and come back in. What we'd like to do, and what we've contemplated for probably since the O'Brien Farm became a conservation area for this section of town, was joining those two parcels. And we originally were going to do it further south, but the people that own that section of land really wasn't interested in having a bridge or a footbridge coming across into their section. So we've moved it north a bit, and the stream in the area is a little bit wider. But as I said, for probably since it originally became a conservation area, many of our neighbors wanted to take and put in a bridge there so we can go across there now, and rather than walking all the way around. And that's what we'd like to do. And we'd like to have your support in doing this. I'm basically been with the Conservation Trust, probably the Westford Conservation Trust, for 4 or 5 years since I retired. And I work with them. Carol can tell you the things we do. But I've known Charlie for quite a while. We were both in the service at the same time years ago. And so what I'd like to do is get the support, and what Charlie would like to do is get the support of the Conservation Commission in that endeavor. And what we're going to be doing now is setting up the organization to get this done. The Westford Conservation Trust, I've already got the support from the key board members and most of the board members, and we're having a meeting in December to take and discuss this too, the Westford Conservation Trust. But I actually will be setting up committees to help raise funds, and we anticipate possibly going to the to attain CPA funds or CPC funds to help us. But that's really what we're trying to do, and but we'd like to take and ask you for your support for in this project. And as we move along, we'll be happy to come back and give you more information on it. Right now we've identified some consultants and things like that to help us with the project.
Dave, how many feet do you think the bridge is going to be?
Right now, Charlie originally came up with 75 feet, but I don't think it's going to be that much. It's more like 50 feet. But it's not necessarily a bridge. It's a we're talking a footbridge, but the stream itself is probably only, I would say 10 to 15 feet across,
Right, yeah.
you know, but
That-
good.
The problem you're gonna run into here is, it's probably gonna have to be handicap accessible.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's your biggest thing, which is gonna make it, there's certain parameters you're gonna have to do. But I think this is a great idea. I mean, we've always thought about, how are we gonna cross that stream to get over
Yes.
to Charlie's Land, so I think it's a great idea.
Oh, good. So we can count. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. Marilyn?
I just wanted to say, I happen to be vice chair of CPA, of the CPC committee rather. But we have our needs assessment coming up on December 8th, I believe. And you should attend that virtually. So you might get in touch with Jesse Bear to make sure you get the connection. So you can just explain this, because that's where people say what they feel that they need in this coming year.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I thank you for your
Any other-
time. If you have other questions, I'm free.
Yeah. Anybody have any questions? Is
No,
everybody
I
in
just want to
agreement
make,
that we
I just want to make
support
sure that, you realize, Dave, too, that even if the commission supports the concept, you have to go through the whole wetland permitting thing.
No, we realize that. We realize
Yeah,
that.
okay.
Okay.
This is over in the location adjacent to where the small parking area is, right?
Yes, yeah.
It'll
It's
go from
below
that.
it.
Yes.
Okay. Just want to make sure I understood where.
Okay, Dave.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
All
Thank
right, yeah. Okay. Okay, we're gonna move on to our next discussion item, which is the Friends of Forge Pond request to remove debris from the outlet channel. Let's see.
Hi, so I'm Steve Haddon, and also connected is Dave Barr. Dave is the president of Friends of Forge Pond, and I'm a board member.
Okay.
I'm trying to get my webcam to work.
We
We
can
can hear
see
you though.
we
Yeah,
can
we can
see
hear you.
You've seen the pictures.
as well.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, just so you know, I apologize burdening you with this. I'm hearing disabled and need to read lips. So it's really important to me to have the webcam. I appreciate
Okay.
being able to see you.
Okay, yeah,
So anyway, Friends of Forge Pond would like permission. I guess we're not sure if we need it. We think we do. Permission to clean debris out of the outlet channel from Forge Pond. So perhaps you are aware that along the driveway that goes into the Westford Town Beach, as you're going in on the left-hand side is the outlet channel. And here in the picture that's on the screen now, you see that the water is very low in the outlet channel. That tree in the foreground is normally underwater, but the water's down about 4 feet, maybe 4.5. This is a part of an ongoing effort every year to lower the water, exposing the part of the lake bed that has the most weeds in it. That is where the sun reaches the bottom, where the water is shallow. Exposing that freezes the invasive plants and the seeds that they drop, minimizing their return the next year. The native plants generally survive the freezing, the water level going down. And if there wasn't a man-made dam there, the water level would go down naturally. So this method of controlling invasive plants is a environmentally benign method. It's inexpensive and it works pretty well. The difficulty here is that the debris in the outlet channel obstructs the flow. And this year we've done pretty well, but in other years we've had trouble getting the water to go down because the flow capacity of the outlet structure and you can't see it in the picture, but it's way down at the far end there. The flow capacity of that is quite limited. If it rains hard, the water level in the lake will come up and we won't be able to let the water out fast enough. So obstructions in the channel that obstruct the flow limit our ability to lower the water and manage the invasive plants. So we'd like to clean up. So the two kinds of things you see in the picture, there are 3 fallen trees, and then there's a whole lot of just debris. There's some large sections of people's docks. They're, I don't know, floats. I don't know what they are. The big wooden structures that have apparently floated away from people's waterfronts and gotten sucked into the outlet channel. There's, in the pictures, you see some steel pipe, glass bottles, all kinds of trash. So we're seeking permission to clean that all up.
So this is Dave. Yeah, thanks, Steve. And so, like Steve said, some of these things will impede the flow and kind of make it a little more difficult for us to get the as low a drawdown as we'd like to. You can see a lot of these things in here are just junk, and it just makes sense that since the water's low and we can't get to these things right now, it's just kind of makes sense to get them out of there.
Yeah, I don't have any problems with this. Anybody else? We do it.
I have any problems with the debris. I don't know about maybe the tree branches and stuff like that, because that's natural versus like man-made debris. But you know, if it needs to come out to make it better, I guess it's doable. Jim?
Yeah. Jim?
I'm all for all of the garbage and the junk, the broken bottles, the utility poles, wooden docks, those kind of things all being taken out. And I think Injustice exit channel is probably a reasonable idea to remove the down trees. But in general, that's not something you want to remove because it provides great structure for fish and turtles and stuff like that to hang out on and to swim around. So if this is just in the out channel, I could go with everything on your list being taken out. And it's a great thing. Thank you very much for offering to do this.
Yeah, we haven't organized a crew to do it yet. We're not sure how successful we'll be. We thought first we should ask for permission, but we do hope to remove quite a lot of it.
So can I just ask then, when you remove it, where is it getting removed to? Like, is it going to a pile or?
Well, we'll
stack it right on the bench right there. We'll put it, I mean, we'll dispose of it like you would other, trash items, respectfully. If you have suggestions for places where we could dispose of it, that'd be fine. Otherwise, we thought we would just, take it to the transfer station, that sort of thing.
To the extent that it's metal, and I did see a couple of steel poles. I think there are car wheels, things like that. To the extent that it's metal, we'll take it over to Westford Metals. They take everything.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the point being, we just don't want it left near the bank, so.
Oh, no, absolutely. No.
Okay, all right.
There. Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions from the commission?
I had a question. Is the water level lowered every year?
We try to lower it every year, but some years we don't succeed. There are two things that limit our ability to manage the invasive weeds this way. One is the small capacity of the outlet channel. It's a pipe 36 inches in diameter. And compared to the size of the lake and the size of the inflows to the lake, one 36-inch pipe isn't very much outlet capacity. So that's an important limit. And the other limit is that Beaver Brook is the main inlet to the lake. Beaver Brook, the wetland, is much larger than the lake. So typically the beavers build a dam across the culverts under Beaver Brook Road, backing up the water into Beaver Brook. When those dams are in place, things go pretty well for us on the drawdown. But the town of Westford removes the dams for good reasons, and that releases the water from Beaver Brook into the lake. And a foot of water in Beaver Brook, like I say, it's much larger than the lake. A foot of water out of Beaver Brook adds up to quite a lot of water in Forge Pond, and that outlet structure limits our ability. So if it rains much, or if the beaver dams fail completely and rain into the pond, well, some years the water just doesn't go down. Even though we, with the collaborative cooperation of the owner of Abbott Mill, he's been very good. We open up all of the openings in the dam even with that, sometimes the water doesn't go down. So we try every year, and if we get a good drawdown every third year or so, that'll be pretty effective.
Yeah, no, well, they have a previously issued order of conditions to do it, so,
Every year?
yes.
Okay.
We renew it periodically.
Yep.
Think we're good,
Okay.
Peter.
You guys are good with this? Everybody good? Give them a
Yes.
go?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank
Okay, you're
you.
good to go.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, we're gonna move on to our next discussion items. That is request for certificate of compliance. Carol Langle, 58 Lakeshore Drive South.
So this is the same property that we were talking about earlier where they want to do
Earlier.
the tree cutting. I mean, I was ready to recommend issuing the certificate of compliance, but I am not sure if I didn't see the concerns that Noel raised. So I don't know if you want to wait till the next meeting.
Yeah, why don't we wait? We'll wait.
Yep, wait.
Okay, Quality Green Homes, Juniper Hill Road.
Okay, so they are very close. We just got a revised plan this afternoon. I had asked them to put a few things on the as-built, so I'd like to share that with you at the next meeting.
Okay.
Mostly, everything's been stabilized. The concerns that I had raised with them were that the buffer zone mitigation area, which if you remember this, it was a slope that they had to grade out for their road, and they it kind of joins, I think it's in the same location. It kind of joins the phase 1 of that project to the phase 2. And while they did plant it and it's stabilized, they have had difficulty with their landscape company maintaining it. So after, I don't remember, maybe a year or so ago, I had said, look, it's supposed to remain naturalized, and they keep mowing over the junipers, which is not an easy thing, but they do. And then, so when we walked it the last time, they agreed to put some signs, kind of like our wetland signs, but I do not disturb beyond this point. Actually, the wetland sign that we use, and they're hoping that that will help. They also had a number of dead bushes at the top, and I'm of the understanding they only replanted them today. And then the other part, it's not as much of a as part of our wetland permit, although it was discussed in the order of conditions that they were putting in a trail, and that was to be done in the early phase. The trail is in, it's very nice to walk, but there is one section, I don't know if you remember the details, but when we accepted the open space, we didn't accept the parcels that had the drainage on it. And one portion of the trail, it was just easier to walk along the edge of the detention basin and get up to the steeper upper slope than going along the side slope. So I asked them if they would provide an easement for that, because ultimately if the homeowners association didn't want to allow it, we wouldn't have that part of the trail. And I'm told that they are working with Melissa Robbins, Attorney Robbins, on that. So I think they're very close, but I would like, and I did talk to
Hold on
Jeff.
to our next
and I
meeting.
spoke with them. I said we'd like to probably wait until next week or next
Okay.
meeting.
Okay, that's fine. The Hanover Company, 310 Littleton Road.
Okay, and they are also very close. They have done all the work. The stream has been relocated and stabilized and vegetated. They've done their water quality testing that was called out for in the order. And the area around wetland G has been planted and is in the process of naturalizing. I think the only question we really had on that one for you, and Matt, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that they still had 2 other orders of conditions that hadn't been closed out. One, if you remember the first, well, this project kind of was superseded, but in a separate order. They had wanted to amend that order, and we said, no, it really needed a new one. And then there was one that had to do with, I think there was some traffic mitigation and some wetland replication. That was before my time. So I don't know, Matt, was there anything else you wanted to say on that?
Yeah, so I appreciate the opportunity. So there were two, so as Carol noted, there were two previous order of conditions. File number 3341188 was originally issued for phase 1 and 2 of the commercial project located at that site. As you're well aware, phase 1 was completed, phase 2, where the residential buildings currently exist, was never. And so when it looks like order 1689 was issued, it makes reference in the findings that the property, or that the existing order for 1188 was still valid for, the stream, location of the stream at the rear of the residential property. And again, and also the second one, 1384, it's called out in, not by name, not specifically, but it is noted in the findings of 1188. But again, it was also part of the much larger phase 1 and phase 2 of the project. So not specifically for this exact site, but I wanted it to be brought up and aware. I also saw that a couple members from Hanover are on in the attendees list, if you'd like to hear from them as well, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, if they have some
ready.
sure.
Mr. Dazzo, if you unmute yourself, or Mike, if you wanted to unmute yourself as well and to discuss.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. Steve Dazzo with the Hanover Company. Just to follow up on what Matt just shared with you. So we're seeking our certificate of compliance for the permit 1689. The previous orders of conditions that were referenced were for the work for the commercial lot, which really are unrelated to the residential project. And these were really just brought to our attention in the recent days. So we're here before you tonight just for permit number 1689. I have not been before this commission before, so I'm just speaking on behalf of some of the information that's recently come up. But as I mentioned, we're seeking our certificate of compliance for permit number 1689.
So Peter, if they have pre-existing orders and conditions, or that haven't, don't those need to get closed out?
Yeah, we usually make them close them. We usually make them close them out until, before we do the new one.
And Mr. Chairman, Steve Dazzo again with Hanover.
Yeah.
Just to reiterate, those original orders of conditions were for work that occurred back in 2008 and 2009. So it was well before the residential project came to being.
Right, but this is Carol. They were related because part of the stream was originally done under the earlier permits.
Yeah, that's right.
So what would it take to get those previous orders closed out?
I think they just need to be able to identify what work was completed under those orders and whether it's been satisfied. The first one that Matt referenced, was not something that I'm as familiar with. I know that there were some reports in our file that the wetland replication work was done, but I don't know that we, since my time here, that I've seen it. And then the other one, I think, again, most of this order that they're looking to close out is essentially superseding the other one, but the other one did have the wetland, the stream originally located, that's now been relocated. So I think they just need to make the requests and sort of tie them all together and explain what work, has been completed.
Sounds like a plan, guys.
Yep. Did you hear that, Steve?
I did hear that. Hanover, so we were not the applicant for those orders of conditions. So we're going to have to work with the original applicant on that, I guess, if I'm understanding correctly.
Yeah, I mean, that's how we do things in town here. I mean, these are definitely related, and we need to get the old ones taken care of, before we get to this one.
Okay, understood.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so we'll put this on hold to the next meeting. The last one is Burn 3 Lower Road.
Okay, I can make a recommendation on that one. That one's complete and it's been done satisfactorily. So I think I'd like to request you issue the certificate of compliance.
Okay, motion to that effect?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, Marilyn?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
Ian?
Yes.
Margaret?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Peter, yes. Okay, and let's see, our last agenda is the review notice of intent to remove from chapter 61B 22 Griffin Road. You guys all familiar with this property?
Yes.
Yeah.
Riding stable, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Got a lot of buildings in it. Do you guys, I mean, I don't think we have any interest in it, do we?
No.
I don't remember it ever being on one of our priority lists.
Right, exactly, yep.
I mean, nice, don't get me wrong, nice parcel and all of that. Just, doesn't score high on our list of parcels that we were looking to try to preserve.
Correct. Okay. All right, if there's nobody that wants to make a motion to go forward with it, then we'll just leave it.
Well, I think we need to let the either the land use director or the selectmen know, because they're going to be looking for our input. So just so long as you can direct me to do that, that's fine.
That's fine. Just tell them we're not interested then. Yep.
No, Carol, they will also go directly to the Agricultural Commission.
So the clock has not exactly started. Well, I guess there's a tolling on this because of COVID. I'm not 100% sure, Margaret, but I can mention it to Jeff Morissette if you think the Agricultural Committee would be interested in seeing it. And where it's out, equestrian farm, they may be. I know that in the past, there was kind of a policy on who it went to. I just don't know if the Ag Committee was in place at that time.
Well, and the reason I bring it up is because I know the Community Garden has talked about wanting to do another site, and whether they do that, I think is under the Agricultural Commission. But I just want to make sure that group of volunteers knows that there's a property coming out of chapter 61, so that somebody's told them so that they are aware. And then
I don't know that they've been told yet, but I think that the Director of Land Use Management was going to be sending out some information. I'm not sure by statute if they're required to be notified. Like, we got an actual certified letter about it. Selectmen got a certified letter, but I can let Jeff know that that was a suggestion, and I'm sure he'd be happy to share the information.
Yeah.
Carol, this is Matt. If I could just chime in quickly, just because I am involved with Planning Board and Zoning Board of Appeals as well. There was a memo from 2014 from the previous Director of Land Use Management, kind of summarizing protocols for when properties come out of Chapter 61, 61A, 61B. And the Agricultural Commission is listed on the kind of
who's notified
from people who get informed of such notice of intent. So I do think they will be getting noticed, but we can definitely let the director know now.
Good.
Okay, thank you
Okay.
very much.
Okay, we're good. I think that's it.
Jim has
Carol,
a
you-
question.
Jim? Yeah,
I know this is a little late, but I think we probably ought to do an informal request to the Westford Land Preservation Foundation about the Friends of East Boston camps and the Girl Scouts doing the tree decorating thing. I mean, it's under a CR, and I don't know what their opinion would be on whether adding these decorations for the 7-week period is something under the CR allowed or not.
It's not.
I hadn't thought of it at the time. I hadn't thought of it at the time that they were talking about it. We should have brought it up then, but I didn't think of it till later.
yeah, yeah. If it was within the camp area, it would be okay. But they're talking about, I think, doing some of it maybe outside the camp area. So
yeah.
So I did bring that up to Susan when I was having a conversation with her, and I told her that usually, I've just given them a courtesy notice of, what we're doing just to keep them in the loop of things, unless you specifically think it's within their purview or it's a prohibited act or use. So if you
I don't know
want,
whether they would think that or
if on
not.
second thoughts, you want to direct them to only be able to do it up at the camp.
I would say we just make a request and say, the commission agreed to do this, but we want to make sure that it's okay with the Westford Land Preservation Foundation.
Okay.
And
Carol,
Bob Price
That
is
sounds
usually,
fine.
Bob Price has
Yeah,
usually been our
fine.
contact person, and he goes to their board. So
that's fine.
So I'm sorry, so are you asking me to go to them with it, or the friends to go to them?
I think if we ask Bob Price, he'll ask the board.
Okay, so I'll ask Bob Price.
Yeah, the commission should ask them. Yeah.
all right.
Okay.
I apologize, I didn't think of that earlier.
Yeah, that's all right. No, you're
Okay.
right.
I had thought about it too, Jim, and I did mention it to Susan when I first spoke with her, but I forgot to bring it up tonight too.
Okay.
Just in terms of scheduling people for coming up to sign the one certificate of compliance that was approved tonight. Does 1:15 work for everybody, or Marilyn, do you want to come up earlier?
Can I come up earlier, like at 11:30 or so?
Certainly.
Okay, I'll call you when I get in the building then.
Great.
Thank you, Matt.
Welcome.
Okay. Anything else?
Recording site visit?
Why?
I think
Who did a
that we
site-
all went
we do a site visit?
Hartford Road.
Hartford Road.
Oh,
Oh, that's
We
true.
did that last time.
Yeah, that was
Do it
last
last
time.
time? I
And-
can't
and
remember.
Carol,
Yeah,
we do
did it last time. Okay.
Carol, do
That's right.
you want to bring up, Carol, the is it maple or hemlock?
Okay, so just quickly, Jim and Matt and I and the town engineer are gonna go to Maple Road next Tuesday at 1, because I guess there is a little more history to it than I realized, because I talked to somebody today, but a resident has put up a no trespassing sign at the end of Maple Road, and it's in the vicinity of where the trail of the Edwards parcel comes out. And they believe that the trail is not on the town conservation land. So I was going to try to meet with them and see where they think that the property line is. And then I think the town engineers might have some additional information, but at least they could see and hear what the homeowner thinks and
Okay.
give us a recommendation if we need to do anything one way or another.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good.
So Jim, I forget if I told you 1 o'clock, but that's what I've scheduled now.
I just heard it now. 1 o'clock's fine.
Okay, thanks.
So Carol, you just have one more meeting with us, right?
I do, I know. So the 9th is
Yeah.
the last one.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so ring me out if there's anything you need.
Okay. All right.
But, all right, it'll be
All right, you
a
guys.
festive one. We'll have to do something to give me a cheer at the end.
Yeah, really.
How many years has it been, Carol?
It's 5.5.
5.5?
Doesn't seem it.
Flown right by. Flown
Yeah.
right by.
And it was,
Yeah.
it's a little shorter than I had originally thought it would be, but it's all snowballed
Yeah.
and all good.
No, we
It's
understand
all
that.
good for us as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Definitely.
All right, well, thank you.
Yeah.
That makes it easier.
Yeah. So can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second,
All in favor? Marilyn,
Yes.
Eric,
yes.
Ian,
Yes.
Margaret,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
and Noel.
Yes.
And Peter, yes. Okay, you guys, night. Thank you.
Good
Good night,
Night,
Have a
everyone.
nice Thanksgiving.
Everybody.
Oh,
See
you
ya.
too.